What's up, everybody? Free to play OG here, and today I am excited to be bringing you my ultimate free to play new player account guide for Marvel Future Fight, including my recommendations for your first 5 World Boss Legend teams that you can acquire within 60 days of starting your new account. That sounds like something you're interested in talking about, then you are in the right place. Let's talk about it. Really quick before we do, a few disclaimers. I want to mention that as of the posting of this video, we are 30 days out from the 10-year anniversary of Marvel Future Fight, and I think it's important to let people know that there is a 50% discount on all uniforms, as a lot of players know. This guide should be set up so that you can get a 50% discount on every uniform that I am recommending that you purchase by using the guided quests and that 50% discount. If you are watching this video later in the future, know that you may need to use a 40% all uniform discount in order to pick some of these up to do this. Another thing I want to mention is that we're going over several new player tips at the end of this video. I put them there so that the more seasoned players didn't have to sit through all of that and we could just get into the meat of this video. Last one. This strategy is going to require invested time in the game. You are not going to get 5 World Boss Legend teams in 60 days without playing Marvel Future Fight. This strategy requires you to spread out over multiple game modes, running multiple quests at the same time, and I think it's fair to let people know that are trying to shoot for those goals. Let's fire this thing up. Heading into our first slide here, we are going to be looking at our 5 World Boss Legend teams. And more than that, this is the characters and the order that you should be unlocking them in. We'll start up in the upper left corner here with Thor in the number 1 slot. Thor with the All-Father uniform is going to be the first guided quest that you take. I put a note here that it's very important to start the guided quest before Thor is tier 2. If you say follow the Shield Academy and you tier 2 him and then you go try to start your first guided quest, you will notice that he is not there and you cannot get the discount on his uniform from the guided quest, a 50% discount for the uniform at 875 crystals. Thor will be the first character that you're going to want to build manually when you get enough Titans records and materials, and you're able to do that on your account. Next character we'll talk about is Iron Man in the Model Nil uniform. You'll receive him on the day 2 of your new player login. We're going to use him as our first tier 3 guided quest character, which you can select even if you have the character at tier 3, because the tier 3 guided quests let you do that, not the tier 2s. We'll also be using our first purchase discount to get his uniform at 700 crystals. Next character we're going to talk about is Loki, wearing the Marvel Studios Loki uniform. You'll get him from day 4 of your new player login. He's going to be the 3rd guided quest you start if you're very comfortable with the game and you're doing about 1 guided quest per day. If that's the case, take Shuri as your 2nd guided quest. If you're new to the game, you're a new player and you're not quite as comfortable with moving quickly, just do Thor's guided quest over the first couple days and then be prepared on day 4 to start Loki's guided quest as your 2nd one. And then after you start the guided quest, accept the tier 3 Loki from your inbox from the login. If you take tier 3 Loki first, you will not be able to start his guided quest. No double dippins for you. No 50% discount on his uniform to get it for 875 crystals. Moving on, we're going to talk about Hulk wearing the Titan uniform. He will be your 5th guided quest character after you finish your tier 3 guided quest. And you can pick up his uniform from the guided quest discount for 875 crystals. You'll want to tier 3 Hulk manually when you have the Titans records and the materials to do so comfortably on your account. Next, we've got Spider-Gwen. You receive her from day 3 of the login event for new accounts. No need to get her a uniform, as she's just going to be a filler character for our account. A free transcended character makes a great character for a World Boss Legend team when you're just starting out. Speaking of free characters, we've got Moon Knight. And Moon Knight is going to be the exact same thing. He's going to function as a cheerleader for our teams and simply fill a slot. He comes from day 5 from your new player login and no uni required. Next, we're going to talk about our 3 epic quest characters here. And these characters are very, very important to the strategy that we're employing to get these 5 World Boss Legend teams quickly. First one we'll talk about is Cersei. She comes from the Eternals Epic Quest. When you start this quest, you're going to have to do a small introductory chain of quests, and then you'll be able to choose whether you start Cersei or Kingo's Epic Quest. I suggest Cersei's first, as she's a slightly better character for new accounts than Kingo is. Neither character should get a uniform. They are both cheerleaders. Next, we're going to talk about Star-Lord. You get him from the Galactic Imperative Epic Quest, the Guardians of the Galaxy one. No uniform for him either. You are simply going to take him to tier 3 through the quest to fulfill one of our World Boss Legend team requirements. Next, let's talk about Black Widow. You're going to take Black Widow as your second tier 3 guided quest and pick up the Venomous uniform for her with either a 50% or 40% discount, whichever you are closer to. Next, we'll talk about M'Baku. You get him from the Legendary Battle for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. You get him at 1 star. You can then use the 6-star Mega Rank Up ticket that you get from your new Agent Special check-in to take him to 6 stars. And then on day 7, you'll receive a Mega Tier 2 Rank Up ticket that you can use to take him directly to Tier 2. Transcend him whenever materials allow for you to do it conveniently. No uniform for M'Baku. He's a great support character and he'll give our account lots of value without any crystal investment at all. Next, let's talk about Gwenpool, wearing the dark Gwenpool uniform. Gwenpool is absolutely ripped. She does tons of damage in World Boss Legend, tons of damage, and she covers tons of days in ABXL. I highly recommend picking up her uniform. She also has Pierce, which is very rare on a uniform for a native tier 1 character. You can pick her up at the appropriate discounted price. Next, we're going to talk about Scream. Scream, you will use your day 45 Transcended ticket to transcend Scream. No uniform. Do not buy her uniform. Scream is going to be filling a niche purpose, which we will talk about on the next slide. Captain Marvel is the next character we'll talk about. The Marvel's uniform. Great character to grab from a tier 3 selector. She's always in them, and we have selectors coming for the anniversary event, and you get them other ways often as well. If you do not get one within the first 60 days of your account, she's another one you can just bring up when you have the Titans records and the materials to tier 3 her. Last thing we'll talk about, you have a 60-day tier 3 ticket that you can use on Venom. In his War Star uniform, he is a fantastic World Boss Legend DPS and will fulfill a requirement for the next slide that we are going to look at. Pick up his uniform at the appropriate discount. All right, on to the next slide, which is my personal favorite. This is a look at the ABXL coverage from this account building strategy. A few things to point out, obviously. We've got 2 days here that are not covered by this strategy. These are the Mutant ABL days. They are notoriously difficult to cover for free-to-play accounts. That's a whole other video. We're not going to talk about that right now. The other thing I want to point out is that Mr. Doctor has snuck into our slide here. You may have noticed that Doctor Strange, as a zombie, is hanging out in the bottom right of our screen. That is because outside of the 5 World Boss Legend teams, I recommend that you pick up Doctor Strange's zombie uniform at the appropriate discount. Keep him at level 60 from the Epic Quest. He will cover these 2 Blast Villain ABXL days for us. He will do everything you need him to do at level 60 with this uniform and a little bit of investment. He is a mastodonic character. I highly recommend you pick him up and wait till after you build your 5 teams to then advance him to whatever level you find appropriate. Other things to look at here. All of these requirement days for ABXL that are laid out aren't necessarily on the best character to get the highest score for that day. I just wanted to demonstrate how much coverage there was. It may be that, Gwenpool can score a little higher on a day that she can do, that Black Widow can do. You'll just have to have some fun figuring that out for yourself as you pilot your account. All right, guys, moving on to the next slide here, we are going to talk some more. So This is going to be a slide about Epic Quest discounts. It's very important to talk about briefly because we've got a lot of new players, hopefully, that'll be watching this, and I want them to understand how this works. And there's also a lot of existing players that don't really understand how this works. I spent hours trying to do all of the math to tell you the exact numbers of materials that you will net gain from doing these epic quests. It broke my brain and I gave up. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It was very easy to calculate the costs, what you pay into getting these epic quests done, but it ended up being very, very difficult to calculate the returns. There are so many benefits and you receive rewards in so many ways through these quests. For example, the last time I was breaking the math down, I started realizing that technically you get a free Beta Ray Bill from the Galactic Imperative. And that is a native tier 2 character. And if you leveled that outside of the epic quest, it would cost you some like 30 million gold or 36 million gold and tons of Black Candy Manor, yada yada. So anyways, after I gave up, I decided I would just present these three figures here. These demonstrate two things that I really want to share with you guys about epic quests. I'll get into them really quickly now. On the left side of this, you can see when we are bringing Star-Lord up to tier 3 during his epic quest, there are certain things we are given for absolutely free. One of those things is his gears from 20 to 25 for absolute free. That means you are not going to spend 3.4 million gold, 2,783 BAM, 1,354 EOD and TCP. That is all stuff that is directly saved by leveling him through this epic quest. Next thing I want to talk about is on the right side. On the right side, we're talking about the advancement of Star-Lord during the epic quest. The advancement is another way you get rewards from epic quests, and it breaks down like this. You receive tier 3 Star-Lord as the last reward from the epic quest chain. You are technically given this advancement. It's when you get the gears and you are given tier 3. Tier 3 costs 2.5 million gold, 1,000 Essence of Dimension, 500 Titan component packs, 800 CCF, and 10 Titan records of the appropriate type. The epic quest before you do this, I believe it's 2 missions before and then another mission before that, is going to ask you for some materials. And you're going to have to give the epic quest 800 Essence of Dimension, 400 Titan component packs, 640 CCF, and 8 Titan records blast. So you can see there's a cost, but it is not even close to the cost of actually paying for the advancement manually. It's close-ish. You save 2 books. You save 140 CCF. So you're going to save all these materials. They end up staying in your account's pocket, which means you can spend them later on things that you want to build. The last thing I want to talk about as far as these rewards are concerned directly is this one in the middle, and this is the big one. We're going to be leveling 3 characters through epic quests. All 3 of those characters during their epic quests receive their potential enhancement and level from 60 to 70 for absolutely free. You don't pay into this. You don't pay it through some other roundabout cost during the quest. It is given to you as rewards. That saves you 30 million gold, 16,000 black antimatter, 7,209 biometrics. Those are large numbers for new players that don't know. Those are relatively large numbers. Endgame whales won't care. Not the point. These are huge savings from doing this. It will accelerate your ability to build these 5 teams so much using these guys. And this is as good a place as any to point out that supports at this point in Marvel Future Fight turned out to be optional. Until you're in a place in your account where you're pushing score or pushing through World Boss Legend to higher stages, I have found with cards in the state they're in and swords in the state they're in, with the account power you can build, you don't need supports to clear up to stage 9 in the first 4 World Boss Legends. We have cleared the World Boss Legend of the day every day for as long as I can remember on the series we're running on the live stream, with nearly 0 supports, with actually a worse version of this strategy that I'm laying out now. Close to it, but it's worse. All right, guys, so the epic quests are so important. We're going to be moving on here to one more screen, and we are going to go ahead and talk some more. So this is going to be the tips, guys, just the tips. And this is a lot for new players and for people that are still kind of scratching their heads about how all this falls together, or if it's worth it to pass up on some of those things, take some of those downsides of not having supports to speed up the growth of your account. I'm going to break some things down here. One thing I want to say that isn't written out on this list that's very important about the strategy we're using is that you are going to be quintuple dipping into different areas of the game between guided quests, epic quests, other early game growth modes. You are going to be layering things like your dimension missions to fulfill requirements for multiple things. It's just something you want to watch that'll help you progress this quickly. A lot of things have the same requirements to progress them. Clear 10 dispatch or 5 dispatch missions. Well, if you can do that for 3 quests at the same time, fantastic. It meets all those requirements and saves you that much energy. Just wanted to point that out to my new players. Next thing we talk about, that tier 2 selector you're going to get right at the beginning of your account. Go ahead and spend it on Man-Thing. Man-Thing is a heck of a thing. He's naked. He's green. He's very strong in early game PvE for new accounts. He's very strong in early game PvP for new accounts. Go ahead and grab your tier 2 Man-Thing and feed him normal story mode, because he will eat it all the way to 8-3. All right. Next thing I should mention really quick, because this gets asked a ton and it's not written on here, but I want to let people know. The premium character chest that you get when you first start your account, there is the option to uninstall the game and re-roll your account until you get a desirable character from that chest. There are several characters in there, including characters like Nick Fury, that are very difficult to get through other means. However, I do suggest you only re-roll till you get something valuable. It takes a real tryhard to sit there and re-roll till you get Nick Fury. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Dr. Voodoo. You're going to want to use biometric selectors that you get on your account as soon as you can to unlock Dr. Voodoo and get his mastery available to you, or leadership, available to your account. You won't get a full-on 6-star character selector until I think day 7 of your account. And the goal here is to get Dr. Voodoo up and running at 6 stars with his leadership by day 4. If you can get that done and you can have Dr. Voodoo with his leadership and Loki at tier 3 with his uniform, you will be able to push so far into dispatch, it will knock your socks off. On day 4, put in the effort. You will not believe the results that you're able to get by using Loki with his uniform and Dr. Voodoo to clear through dispatch stages. Some of those roadblocks may take 72, may take 80, don't know. You can look at our dispatch guide on the channel. It'll answer a lot of questions about that mode specifically. Starting Thor guided quest before you tier 2 Thor bears repeating. If you do not start that guided quest first, you will miss out on that 50% discount, and you will not be able to double dip and get rewards from the Shield Academy and the guided quest for leveling Thor and advancing him. Bears repeating with Loki too. Start the Loki guided quest before you claim him from your inbox from the login. If you claim him first, you will not be able to get the juicy discount and the double dip ins. Next thing we'll talk about really quick is Iron Man. You can skip his nil uniform if you're not interested in it or you have other reasons that you want to skip it. You do not have to use your first purchase on it. If you do choose to skip it, from everything I've seen and my experience, you're going to push your first World Boss Legend clear capabilities back a little ways. Loki is not very good for World Boss Legend. In fact, he's very bad for World Boss Legend. And your other characters that are very strong for World Boss Legend won't be coming up to tier 3 until further into your account. Some people take Spider-Gwen's uniform at the beginning of their account. This is not a strategy I recommend. I don't think it's terrible. It's just not one I have planned out for, and it creates some different opportunities with your speed types and stuff. It makes things totally different. Yeah, next we'll talk about replacing Black Widow with Gamora. It's an option. I don't recommend it. Gamora's good. She is better than Black Widow with scores in ABXL. I think she does a little more damage in World Boss Legend, but Black Widow splashes into PvP value. She's not amazing in PvP, but she's going to give you early game PvP value, and we are also going to be able to get her discounted from the guided quest. We're going to save a bunch of materials. So important. That's a huge part of this strategy, is keeping your materials in your pocket. Build more characters that way. I will say I have Gamora with her uniform, and I wish I had Black Widow with her uniform. I picked Spider-Man instead, but the Venomous uniform hadn't been released yet when I picked my second guided quest. So there you go. You can replace Venom with anyone you want. You don't have to get Venom. Venom is a good pick in my opinion, but you can try to score 1 million points in ABX with M'Baku, and then use that to springboard past that day. I haven't tested that, so I'm not sure what it would look like. I imagine it would be easy. If you do choose to pick someone besides Venom, I would pick another support, like maybe Shuri is a good character to take to tier 3. I mentioned this quickly already. It's another thing not written here, but something I want to talk about with the tier 2 guided quests. If you are brand new to the game, it is going to be difficult to rip through 3 guided quests before you unlock Loki to be on his guided quest, right? Because you need to complete 2 and then start that one to be ready on day 4. The way the guided quests work, you're going to be required to clear a stage of Shadowlands to complete the guided quests. The issue with that is you cannot do Shadowlands until you unlock stage 7 of Dimension Missions, which requires an agent badge level of 15. All of that's doable on day 2. That would be the optimal plan for people that are pushing really hard. You're going to want to get your guided quest completed up to that stage and then knock it out and start the second one really early on day 2. People that are doing stuff like that, go ahead and take Shuri for your second quest and then be ready to take Loki. All right. Another thing written on here that people who are familiar with the channel aren't going to be surprised about: a dispatch mode. Do not neglect dispatch. I think this strategy it'll work, but it will work so much better if you push far into dispatch. Do not rob yourself of those materials. Do not rob yourself. It is one of the best game modes in Marvel Future Fight. There's a dedicated guide to it on this channel. I absolutely love dispatch mode. You should love dispatch mode too. Another thing to mention that isn't written here is you do get a potential enhancement ticket. I know a lot of people are going to ask about this. The answer to the potential enhancement ticket is just use it on a character whose potential you were going to have to do manually anyways to get them to tier 3. That's someone like Gwenpool, who you're just going to have to use books and do the natural way, and that'll just let you skip leveling her. Just make sure you don't use it on somebody like an epic quest character like Star-Lord, where you can get that done for free. All right. The other thing I want to talk about really quick before we start wrapping this up is some of the synergy from this account. I want to just kind of rattle off a few of the reasons I think this strategy is so powerful. I can't list all these. It goes on and on and on when you get into all the game modes and all the advantages from it. But we're taking advantage of 3 guided quests, getting you 3 50% discount uniforms right out the gate with your account, no matter when you're starting it. We're utilizing both tier 3 guided quests to actually get us benefits, taking Iron Man's first when we already have him to print materials from that one. The requirements will all be met and done because he's already tier 3, so you can just complete those stages and collect the rewards. And then Black Widow is going to go to tier 3 and get us a great character, utilizing another heavy discount on a tier 3. Thor going up first, one of the biggest regrets on my account. I haven't been able to clear the story mode ultimate stages that require an elemental damage dealer because I neglected to build Thor. I wish I would have built him much, much sooner. the fact that you can cover all of that. I'll stay out of, this is what I mean. I'll stay out of story mode ultimate, but this covers story mode ultimate in a crazy way and lets you start clearing it on auto very, very quickly. Insane early dispatch potential, the best that I'm aware of that you can get on a new account without spending money to buy things. Insane ABXL coverage, insane coverage of ABXL days, and massive discounts from the Epic Quest, Guided Quest. We're just basically utilizing every single thing that Marvel Future Fight hands us to get discounts and make this easier and faster. All right, guys. I want to mention one more thing really important for all my new players here. Tomorrow, as of the posting of this video, the next day, I will be doing a live stream, a full day one live stream anniversary special where I will be streaming a new Marvel Future Fight account, day one, the full day, non-stop. 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, doesn't matter. We're doing the whole thing. I hope I see you there. And if I don't, the VOD will be on the channel for people to watch. This is where new players are going to be able to go to get some answers to some of the questions I know people are going to have. There are a million different strategies and a million different things to talk about in Marvel Future Fight. It's one of the greatest things about it. Hopefully that VOD or that live stream will help people get going on this process of building a new account. We're going to go ahead and swap back over to the game here for just a sec. All right, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I put a lot of time and energy into this. I had a blast putting it together. If you feel like you learned anything from it, please hit that like button. Helps get this video out there for people so new players can see it. If you want to see more guide content like this, or you want to join us for the live streams every day at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated. I'm old and gray. This is free to play, and I hope you all have an absolutely spectacular day.